be jamming to that song. Okay.
I want to change it, but then I every time I hear it, I'm like, okay, we'll keep it for a little
while. It's into my bones. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome back, everyone.
We're here. I'm DJ, and
I'm your unicorn. Hello, everyone.
All right, so what we're going to talk about today is a lot. Like, we have so many topics, but we probably won't get to them all or whatever. But you guys see the title. We're definitely going to talk about the Supreme Court, and we're going to stick some reality TV in there. But first, how was your week, sis? We're going to go through that for a few minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why this week, it's been a while since I felt like this, but I felt like this week was a long week, even though it's actually short because we have off tomorrow and it's a long weekend coming up.
Holiday.
We actually, so this is the thing. When I talk crap about my job, I have to say this. We have a 5-day weekend. Like this,
y'all got good benefits though.
This
like
is unheard of. A 5-day weekend. That's like a work week. I can't even tell you the last time we had a schedule.
So y'all off Monday too?
Yes, because why come to work on Monday when we're off on Tuesday?
I'm trying to figure it out. I feel like I only get Tuesday off.
Hey, Malcolm, you know what? James didn't either, and he just went and took Monday off just because I had it off because he wants to be like me secretly in the back of his mind.
But I was looking at the calendar and I was like, okay, I was trying to like figure out if I needed to move some of my meetings or whatever, and I was like, all right, so nothing's on Tuesday because we're off. But I was like, damn, so that means we got to go to work Monday.
You know what's funny? And I don't even know who came up with this, but it is rather genius because it's like, who's going to really be focused on work on Monday? And the way that they do it is like, if you have work to do, you're going to get it done because either you want to take the time off or because you're like, oh, I don't mind working this day. It's supposed to be off, but I'm just going to work because I have work to do. It's like it works in the opposite way. You know what I'm saying? Where you think, oh, people are going to take advantage. And then they don't because they're like, this is such a good situation that I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to just do the right thing. It's wild the way it works. I've never worked at a place like that does the like unlimited PTO and stuff like that, but it actually
listen, I tried. I wanted to work for Deloitte. I think Ernst & Young. Ernst & Young has unlimited PTO, and I'm like, dang, hey Mocha. I'm like, dang, I wish. But at the same time, the quarantine and pandemic got my leave looking nice. I'm able to take off, and you know, I used to be in a situation where I would use my leave almost as soon as I get it, unless I was saving up for like a vacation. But now I'm good. Like I just need a vacation to go on. And then
I heard, we were thinking about maybe sneaking away to the beach, but we're thinking about going to Texas in September, so we probably saved that.
Nice. Oh yeah. Y'all gotta go to Texas.
Like, yes, we do. But anyway, so long story short, my week was good. Even though it felt long, it wasn't really long. I just felt like it was long. I kept thinking every day that it was the next day. Like
both.
Like Monday, I was like, oh, it's not Tuesday yet. And then Wednesday got here and I just thought it was Thursday. And I was like, what? Why is it not Thursday? Who approved this?
Were we off Monday?
No, that was last week, I think. That was last week for Juneteenth. We were off last Monday for Juneteenth.
I didn't get that.
Oh.
Could you try again?
Oh.
I can't remember. I'm like I got so many things.
Yeah, it's like I'm stuck in the
like
my life.
I work on Tuesday.
I'm stuck in the.
I usually go on Monday. I feel like we had Monday off.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. No, I didn't have Monday off, but I'm stuck in the cusp of a 3-day period at all times. It's like I rarely know
right, Mocha,
right off bat like what day it is. I just know it's not Saturday and it's not Wednesday. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm stuck in a 3-day. Like, and somewhere in the middle, I figure out where I'm supposed to be. But anyway, how was your week?
My week was busy, but good. Like today, I spent all day between work and like I had to figure something out for my business. And that was a big piece or whatever. And I'm almost ready for you, actually. So we'll talk about that behind the scenes. But like, I gotta do this. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I'm getting more and more ready every day. And look, we're gonna talk about that offline, but I'm getting more and more ready every day as far as like my mindset and being like, I gotta change something. I was actually looking at people's before and after pictures, and I was like, I know scientifically that I can do this, but it's something in my mind that's like, nope.
Weren't you the one that ran a marathon one time? I would
Well, I
never
did a
run
half.
a marathon.
Well, I was training for a half marathon. I
That's
never
even still
actually
more
ran
than
it.
I did. I
never
but,
actually ran it. I only got up to like 6.5 miles. I didn't do the actual race, but like for
still.
training, I got up to 6.5 miles running. And I'm about to, you know what? I'm about to get back on it. The only reason and this is similar to this time, because the only reason I wanted to run, because I hate running, was like, oh, I hate this, so I'm gonna do it just to prove to myself that I can do things, that I hate. But anyway, that's in a whole other
how many
topic.
things do you hate that you're planning on doing for the rest of your life?
Right, a lot. And some things I don't even know I'll hate. And even the things like, hey Ellen, even the things now that I feel like I don't like that, I do them anyway. So you look, I know what I do.
It's gonna be easier than you thought. Once we work together, it's gonna be easier than you thought, and you're gonna be looking at yourself like, oh my God, what the fuck? I could have been doing this. Watch.
I'm agreeing with that. So first thing I want to say, did you say how your week was?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was busy, but good.
We're going to get this conversation started because I wanted to revisit perhaps, or we might save this for the end. I don't know. If you wanted to talk about anything that we talked about, if you wanted to talk about anything we talked about last week, like I know we talked about the submersible and we talked about social proof.
Oh yeah, I had my tinfoil hat on that jump.
Now they're talking about, all right, look, so let's just revisit. So let me put out 3 topics from last week that we might want to revisit. The social proof around like the scamming stuff, and then about the submersible, and about Rashid and Simone.
Okay.
Any new thoughts? Because last week we gave our take, and now things have, not even shifted slightly, but certain other things have come out about each of those topics. And I just kind of wanted to circle back and kind of definitively put a cap on it for now, because we might talk about things ongoing. But do you have anything to say about either of those topics or anything?
So the only thing I really have to say until you talk is about the submersible, right? Mocha says that they pulled up the submersible. So was anything in it? That's what I want to know.
So I've seen
it's not like it exploded, it imploded.
It says the U.S. Coast Guard says presumed human remains found in wreckage of Titan submersible. I'm going to go ahead and put this up on the screen so people can see what I'm seeing. But I have my tinfoil hat on as well.
Like they always say that there's distraction. People are like, distraction from what? And that's neither here nor there. I mean, there's always something else. And there was apparently a boat of 700 immigrants that drowned. All of them drowned around the same time, but the submersible got the coverage, which, like I said, I'm not even sure those people were actually in there. We didn't see them get in. You know what I'm saying? So I saw the mom talking about how she was going to go. She was on the ship, but she didn't get in or whatever. But, I'm going to keep my tinfoil hat on that, John. Like, show me some receipts that they got in there. I don't know.
I'm not trying to say that I'm not, I care about people and about things that happen to people, but like I didn't know who any of these people were. And shortly after we kind of covered that last week, I found out that there were 700 people on a boat who also sank. And I was just thinking to myself, like, they were trying to like get away. I'm trying to look for the submersible.
But so I saw a dude do a TikTok, and he was basically like, the people who are making the jokes about the submersible aren't being like, aren't acting without compassion. He was like, he said all these things about billionaires and all the things that have happened to us in the last 3 years and the things that they go out and spend money on, and they, and so it's like, we're not being, mean or anything like that, but it's like, come on, like, there's so many things that need to be done in this world that your money can help. Nobody's telling you what to do, but are we supposed to be like feeling some type of way about that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna send you the TikTok because dude had a bunch of points.
This is from the Today Show. Just want to show this because this is some of the remains. But like, I ain't gonna lie, this could be anything, right? Like, I don't
we
know.
don't know what we're supposed to see.
It's so weird. Listen, if people lost their lives, I'm sad about that, right? But like, I don't really know. I'm just like a little bit because I did see a photo of like a bunch of people on a ship and with the 700 people who were immigrants who were trying to probably get here to build a better life. And then you have these, handful of people who decided that they were so curious about what's underwater that they didn't check receipts on how they were going to get back. And I don't know. I'm not judging anybody.
Documentary on that submersible though. I think the Plainest Jane. Shout out to the Plainest Jane. She did. I think it was members only though. But there's some documentary about it or whatever. But there's a YouTuber that went on it, and it didn't look like a fun trip. I mean, he was cool about it, but it didn't look like ooh woohoo or whatever. But like I said, I mean, I don't know that those people were on there. It's weird that a heir will be traveling with his. I mean, a billionaire will be traveling with his heir because if both of them die, then who gets the money? Kind of thing. But
it's odd. Everything's odd to me.
Yeah, it's just odd. It's just strange.
I do want to say this, and then I want to talk about Mocha's comment. Ellen's
on the spot live, and I am the single one. She had a good live last night about Rashid and Simone.
Okay, because we can ready to go into that. Can you go back to Ellen's comment real quick?
Yes.
Ellen said, between the submarine and Rashid, the only thing that comes to mind is scam. Let's talk about this because actually she's covering two topics that we're about to get into from last week for a second. I don't know. So now I watched a little bit of Little Black Book and I watched a couple of things and I'm like, I don't think they scammed, but I'm not sure because I watched his like most recent live that he did like the night of the BET Awards. Mm-hmm. And he was like, they were on a break or something like that. And I'm like, I get it though, because whenever okay, full transparency, when in the past, when I would break up with people and I knew it was over, I would be like, let's take some time, right, to think about our next steps. And, we're not broken up. We're just taking some time. But then I never,
Yeah, see, I don't even.
I don't know if she did.
I'm like this. If you break up with me or whatever, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and I don't typically look back. But the thing is, right? I think Rashid rushed to the internet. I don't think they're scamming. Only because I just don't think Simone would do that. I mean, but if Rashid ran to the internet, and I feel like he was premature with it. She did not. She only came out because she had to answer all these questions that were formed after he ran to the internet. And I still think he only did it because he didn't know what she was going to do. But, now they're in it. But think about it realistically. Like you just said, right? You have a conversation. Sometimes people break up and then they get back together, but he didn't give it time to do that. So now everybody's scrutinizing that, which I really feel like, whether you have good advice or not, if they have to go through their own process. Like, you can't tell them what to do. Like, I want them both to make the best decision for themselves. Of course, he's saying he's trying to get his woman back, but Simone didn't make that decision
lightly.
What do you call it? Like superficially. It wasn't a superficial. Yeah. She worked with him. I am the single one pointing this out. She worked with him on that for 2 years, and then I had to come up with this. So it's like, bruh, I'm gonna have to take some time to think about this, and they could get back together. But that's why I say I think it was premature for him to run to the thing. But I don't think that they're scamming.
I think that he did it out of, like you said, like a little bit of fear of like, let me be the first to the punch. But then I'm also on your page as far as like, I don't think she's going to scam people because
I'm going to be really shocked if that's the case.
I feel like she would be embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it would be embarrassing for her, like for her to say
now,
look, everything's possible. Anything's possible.
He is a car salesman, so I'm not saying he's scamming, but I ain't gonna put it past.
But she wouldn't be shocked.
But I'm not. If it is, then she don't know nothing about the scam, right? And I'm not saying Rashid is scamming, but I just don't see them doing that.
Yeah,
But you
I
know,
agree. I agree
it's
that I don't see her
2023. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Mocha Mima said, in relation to the submersible, that they were immigrants going from Libya to Italy, not coming to USA. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Much love to my favorite sisters, mods and chat. We don't have no
You.
mods because
So
we don't need
nice.
no mods right now. But you know what I'm saying. As soon as I say that, it's gonna be trolling.
So speaking of scam, I wanted to touch again on the whole
Mm.
social proof that she's sticking with her man. Really? Oh, see, I feel like this. I want them to be like I was the person, and I said this last week. I love. I want them to like. I felt like they were a great couple. I felt like very connected to them as far as like, oh, they're they're a strong black couple. They're funny. They're smart. They're like real or whatever. And I felt like this is a good look. Like this is a good look for people to be out here like this. Like I really liked what they were doing. But I, obviously am a viewer. I don't know everything that's happening in their lives. And I definitely want everybody to make the best decision for themselves. I do still feel like, yeah, if everything that they're saying is true, both of them, then yeah, I want him to get his stuff together and go back and get his woman. But I'm not really sure if everything is accurate.
Because the things like that get fixed overnight. Like, take it from me. I'm not good. I'm not the best with my finances, but I would not blame somebody if they were like, oh, your money management skills are blah, blah, blah. But I wouldn't lie about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's the real key. Because I had to go and look up what is financial infidelity. Like, what? I did not understand.
Like, if you are in the public eye, I feel like that gives you a lot more pressure to make sure that everything works out. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I feel like they probably did a lot of that. Probably on Simone's part, like she might have gotten this thought before, but this really was just like, I can't go forward with that. But it's not even about the money. It's about the fact, it's about how he carried it. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem because but okay, Kojo did point out something too. Like you have to, sometimes things like that have to happen, or maybe On the Spot Live said it, or I and the Single One said it, but one of them said it. They were like, sometimes when something happens, the detriment, like the consequence, sometimes is what you need. Like if she wouldn't have broken up with him and she'd have been like, oh, okay, well come back. I think it was I'm the Single One that said this. Come back and we'll be together. Now it's like oh well, I can chill then. She's not really that mad about it because we still got married and whatever.
Yep.
May not have made that decision. Now the other thing is like, when you do stuff like that, when you say, okay, when you make a big decision to be like, I'm calling this thing off, even though the world knows about it, whatever, like you felt that, right? You felt some type of way about that. So I want her to just take some time. But again, I think he ran to the internet too soon, and now we're all involved because you told us what happened. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't know nothing.
I think it would have been weird if it would have been 2 weeks without them posting any content. I think because they were reviewing stuff, they were out there.
It is weird because we would have only had assumptions. We wouldn't have had anybody's video to play. We wouldn't have had anything to pick apart. You feel what I'm saying? Like if we're in a relationship, I'm gonna need you to keep it here before we both decide what's going to go on. And I just think he jumped the gun.
Let me point this out. It might have been like what you said. Okay, let's go inside. It might have been like, oh, he wanted to get the upper hand or the upper foot or whatever the hell. Or it might have been that he was scared of what she was going to put out. But if he is like very clean hearted or whatever, I don't know what the hell. If he was being honest and he just wanted to be like, I'm going to take a stand because I know I be flaunting, and let me just go ahead and show her and the world that I'm ready to be real. Finally, he comes on and he takes off the chains, which was a little corny, like, I ain't gonna lie. But at the same time, it was like, okay, he might be, turning a new leaf, but I don't really know.
She might have been in that argument. She might have been like in the fake ass chains and the fake ass.
I could just see her saying so many things, but here's one reason why I do believe her is because she is almost honest to a fault sometimes, as far as like she'll put herself out there and not so much like the best light. She's not out there trying to be like the perfect woman. She be like, oh yeah, I did that. I sure did. And it wasn't right, but I don't care because I did it. You know what I'm saying? And I learned and I did. Like I feel like she's taking ownership of certain things that she's done just over me watching her, you know, on her channel Girls That Legal and saying certain things, and I feel like her heart is in the right place. I just don't see her doing that. And like, yeah, maybe missed a beat. Maybe I'm wrong, but I do not think that she would be scammy. I do not, however, put it past him. He is pretty calculated, and he's saying
that he's a liar. So
and he's already done this before, and his first wife left him for a very similar reason. So I get it, and I could also, I've never seen this lady before, but I could also understand what she was probably going through, because it's like, wow, how long am I going to sit here and take this? It's like he's not changing. He's making decisions for us. That's the thing when you're in a marriage or in a relationship, like your being there is like silence and acceptance. It's like, oh, the longer I stay here, the more my life is being atrocious.
I mean, and I want to point it out too that communication is that too. Like if you feel some type of way, or you know that you're doing something, or you have, you know, he should have, you know, I don't know. I feel like he should have talked to her about that video before he did that video.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, he sat there and witnessed her do videos before. And he probably was like, she's not about to ether me, because we would not have wanted to hear anything he had to say if she would have come out first. If she would come out first, we would have been like, oh, you know, whatever. It's nothing. We don't want to hear his story or whatever.
Yeah, so, true. Very
but
true.
Like I said, she on the spot live says, I don't think they're scamming, but I do think they'll end up together. And that's the thing. I feel like he came to the internet prematurely because they could get back together. You know what I mean?
Well, they could, but she's not, especially now, gonna go for any bullshit, because now it's like
all eyes are on them.
Everything's on the line now. Like, you called off the wedding, and if you get back with this dude, you better be sure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
he kind of made it hard for himself, but it's a blessing in disguise, because I do think that like he is going to be able to help people, even though he's not going to help us, right? Like, we're not going to, you know, benefit from that or whatever. But there are people who probably are relating to him that are behind him, like meaning they still in the situation where they lying and manipulating, and seeing him do that will help those people. So I am supporting what he's doing. And, you know, it's something to be said when you say something on the internet. Now you have a higher level of accountability because everybody looking. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody looking. So good luck to them. I ain't going to go to it. We are going to read some of these comments. I hear you, Ellen. I don't think the scam is on her. I'm not trusting him. 1 ticket for that show. I'm on your page with that. I didn't watch his second live, but Coach did a response saying he's working with Maurice Scott. Woo, Chile.
Yeah, did you watch that video?
Who is Maurice Scott?
Scott is from Love and Marriage Huntsville. He is one of the
I know who that is.
He's the one that's Kimmy's husband, I believe. And so at first I thought he said Marceau, and I was like, oh Lord. But at the same time, you know, this opportunity gives them a chance to network together and all of that. And I mean, let's be real. He needs some money. So you know, it's gonna be a good helping him with his finances.
He has all the opportunities to go and make said money, and you know he can figure it out. But I don't know if it's gonna work out with them. I first last week, and I guess that's one thing I will correct. Last week I was all in the mood of like, oh, cherish the love. They both want the best. Now I'm kind of looking at it with the side eye, like, I don't know, maybe old girl called it right, and maybe she should just like chill and not go back. Because it's like, look, if it was a red flag, then it's going to stay a red flag. Red flags don't turn colors. They're still fucking red flags, regardless of whether years pass or weeks pass. And so that's the thing that I have to keep in mind, because if he's capable of doing that, you know what I'm saying, then he's still capable of doing that, even if he changes. So that's unfortunate, but it's real. So anyway,
and like On the Spot Live says, women have more power before the marriage. Once you're in it, there's low incentive to change, and that I agree with that, because like the consequence of losing her will probably put more fire under him, especially since this is not the first time, by his words, that he's lost a good woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, for the same damn reason.
Tyron, shout out to Tyron, y'all. That's my cousin. Oh, that's her cousin too.
for the same damn reason, no less. It's like you
That's what
already
I'm
made
saying.
this mistake and now you're further along. And she kept saying, at our big age. And there's something to be said for that, because it's like if you're still learning the same lessons or you haven't learned from what you have been through, then like it's probably, you know what I'm saying? Like they say, I think Oprah said this: first you get a whisper, then you get a knock, then you get a brick. And look, now you're just going forward and forward and forward. And in his even confessional or whatever he did, it was like, you know, he was telling his own story, and as manipulative as he even revealed that he was, it was like that might have even gone over his head. Like, you've gone through the same thing, and now here you are on a larger platform going through the same shit again, and now we're all watching you. So if you do this again, it's like, what are you doing?
Which is my point about people have to move within their own understanding. So somebody could say something to you and it make total sense, but if you're not in full understanding with it, then you're going to make the same mistake again. But I feel like this was different for him because the whole world is now watching, because like I said, I feel like they had that conversation and he was like, oh God, he probably had all her videos playing in the back of his head, how she did the background checks on everybody else and how she did with Jeffrey and Derek Jackson. That video she did was like recent, you know what I'm saying? And she was like all up in that. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he had in his mind, let me get in front of this, because like I said, nobody would have wanted to hear anything he had to say if we would have heard her talk first. You know what I mean?
That's very true, because we would have just been all looking with the side eye. I think he didn't want to lose her. April says, I think he didn't want to lose her and wanted to prove it by putting himself on Bless the World. So that was my first take. And I was feeling very like, oh, look at him trying. But then I realized that, oh, this could be a part of the Matrix.
And I think he also did those videos to her more so than the world. He probably, you know, was like, she's going to see this and not, you know, I feel like they were a little manipulative toward her as well. You know what I'm saying?
Now because there's a little
something else. She was like, oh, the man comes and cuts my grass. And I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
There's a little bit of dumb right in the back of my brain that really wants to believe that it's real. It's like whatever that shit is that makes Krishan Rock still keep going back to Blueface. It's a little bit of that. It's a little chunk right here in favor of their relationship.
That type of dumb.
It's a little bit, just a little bit. Okay.
Smoke and Mima said he didn't want that smoke. No, he did not listen. No. We all seen how Simone is. Okay, she don't play.
Look, I wouldn't want that smoke either, for sure. But I don't think it was coming from the scamming Scots. Oh my gosh, that's wild. That's wild.
Okay, so if y'all don't watch, okay, this is her second channel. On the Spot Live, she shows properties and she tells you how to buy a house. She gives you good tips on how to fix your credit and things like that. But she also has another channel called I Am the Single One, which is, I think last night she was saying it's a femininity sphere, right? Because she is not looking to get into a relationship. And she was talking about how women have more power before they get married, because like she said, there's little incentive to change after that if there's anything that needs to like be up to par or whatever. But definitely check out her channel, I Am the Single One, because she talks about a lot of different things that some of them I didn't even think about. You know what I mean? But
that's a great point. We do have power.
Assets, ladies.
I feel like, yeah. There's so much I could say about that. I agree though. Long story short.
Okay, April,
up with his part of the money, most likely when he wins the tractor trailer lawsuit, the wedding will be back on. Well, hopefully he will have learned some other lessons about how important, you know, transparency is in a relationship. It's like so many things that probably went through her mind before she decided not to go with it, because I think I made a comment last week. I may have made it off camera because I was not proud of this, but I thought to myself, like, if it were me, would I call a whole wedding off, or would I be like, oh, we got to fix this, but you're not about to make me look stupid. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fix. I think, you know, I'm not going to lie.
Why would you do that, right? Because
I have not been in that situation before.
But would you be thinking about what other people are going to think and say? Like, you're not about to make me look stupid, or would you be focused on the fact that this is a real problem?
I'm just being really transparent right now. I have not gone through that, but I think in that position because she was like, oh, he wanted to elope. And then she was like, okay, fine. Like, because the whole point is to get married. But then when she took a beat and thought about, like, well, what am I doing? This is not ideal, right? And then she thought about, like, what this all means. And then she made a better decision. I'm saying better decision because I think it was a better decision. But I guess that's relative. But when I looked at, like, well, what would I have done in this situation? I'm not sure I would have made the same decision or the right decision. I'm being honest, just because it's like, now I've never been with, a Rashid, but I will say that I do think that he's like a good dude. And I think that, yeah, I guess to answer your question, it would have been like, yeah, we're not going to look stupid. We said we were going to get married and we're going to get married and then we'll work out the bullshit after the fact. But I think
let me just say this too, though.
I think she made a great decision because I'm not sure that I would have made the same decision, but for the wrong reasons.
Because if you did that, you're not fixing the problem.
No.
The problem's going to resurface later.
Yeah.
And then what if it resurfaced later to the point where now you got to pay him or help him pay some stuff because now you're one. Now that's right there. Stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Now that's what's wrong right there because she even said that. And I think her interview with Kamisha where she was like, this is how women get in trouble because now when we're married, now his debt is my debt. Now we both in debt. And that's like, and he didn't learn no lesson and he gonna continue to do whatever he needs to do. And so I also felt like, as women of a certain age, your biological clock is ticking. If you want to have children, you can't be out here fucking around. Okay. It's for the streets. Like, this is like, I got to make a clean decision so I can make a better choice. And I get it. I completely get it. I support her decision. I think I may have been a little bamboozled by that first live that he did.
Well, when I came home I was at your house that night, and I came home and I saw it. My TV wasn't on the volume, and I was looking at his face, and I was like, "What? What's wrong with Rashid?" And I was like, "Where the fuck is Simone?" And then I was like, "Oh hell no!" When I listened to it. But April, what is the tractor trailer lawsuit? I fucking missed that part.
Well, apparently he has. Oh, she's gonna say, but I think he has a lawsuit. Like he has some money coming to him, basically. She told him to make the video. Oh, look at that next comment. She told him to make the video.
Okay.
Interesting. All right, listen, we're gonna move on to the next topic because
that makes me think.
I do want to touch on quickly the whole social proof thing because this is gonna come back into what we're gonna talk about at the end of the show. Funnily enough, like, okay, so what I did was we talked about social proof last week and how they were sort of like ousted or not ousted, but they were called to the carpet along with the EYL guys about, the tractor trailer hit the porch. Oh, okay.
I know that tractor trailer driving mad as shit.
This group of people came for social proof, David Shands and Donnie Wiggins, about them sort of like aiding and abetting scammers, like having them on the show and taking money and doing all these things that they were, accused of doing, but we don't know for sure. But this is going to come back into play later in the show. I do want to give some additional thoughts on that. It's so funny. I appreciate people who, and not to say America is perfect, but like this is kind of like what the purpose was of having like the way that our government was set up to have checks and balances, like one entity cannot control everything. And so I appreciate when people have separate viewpoints or opposing viewpoints, because it's like, let's just put it all out there and discuss. And so I appreciate that. And I'm not saying anything bad about anybody, but I definitely want to say this, something about the social proof and what they've done, as far as like inspiration and information given to the community, I can't knock it. So if they made some mistakes along the way, so be it. I definitely still rock with them, and I think they're still going to be better and grow because that's all I've seen them do since I've watched them. Now, if they have put other people on that were not so honest, like, I mean, you gotta, you're going to get dirty in the game. Like whatever game you're playing, whatever industry you're in, it's not all sugar, sticks, and rainbows. But I definitely stand stand by the social proof, and I definitely say that I appreciate the work that they've done. And that's gonna come on. That's kind of gonna come in at the end of the conversation, not necessarily about them, but at one of our last topics is gonna touch on like what you're putting out there as far as content creation. And I definitely just have to. I wanted to come back and say that because I don't know that I made that definitive statement, but that's kind of what I think. It's like, sure, everybody, I appreciate everybody. The people who came out against them, I followed them too because I'm like, yeah, why not?
He has good content, but the social proof, and they even said it. The JT even said it. They didn't do anything wrong. And if you're interviewing people, you're bound to come across a scammer or 2 or 3. So they have no way of knowing that. And Tony the Closer put out Instagram with his top 10 scammers this week, or yesterday, maybe he did it. They weren't on there because they're not scammers. You know what I'm saying? Right. But not that he's the end all be all of it, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't take this,
accuser, right?
I didn't take this as a ding, though. I think they were accusing them for rubbing elbows with the other people, and then Donnie, it wasn't even her fight, and she got into it, and then now you got it back and forth. So yeah, I'm gonna say whatever I have to say to you, not me, but that's how it kind of goes or whatever. But yeah, so everybody knows I love the Social Proof podcast. They hosted media interviews at the BET Awards this weekend. And I'm waiting to see some of those like little clips or whatever, because I know it was fire. But yeah, shout out to them.
Shout out to them. So that was our recap of last week's. We just wanted to come back and talk about a couple of things. Now we're going to move on to this week's topics. We're going to do kind of like a quick fire just because we've spent so much time on that. I can't even believe we spent 36 minutes talking about that. Oh, wait, let's read this comment. If he would have had his portion of the wedding, I don't think it ever would have been called off. Truth. You speak truth to power now.
Well, see, that's where I disagree. Now,
I mean, she already knew about his prior finances. I agree. All right, we're going to go toe to toe.
But I think the thing, I don't think it was actually about the money, because I feel like they could have gotten that money, right? I think it was about the fact that he was doing all of those other things to go deeper in debt without telling her behind her back. That's what I think it was about.
So yes and no, sure. I think you're right, and I think April is right too. But here's my take on what April is saying. If he had his portion of the wedding, none of that stuff would have come.
He wouldn't have had. He wouldn't have had.
Right? It's like, okay, we have an agreement. You met the agreement. Let's move along.
Right, because he wouldn't have had to come on the internet. He would have just came with his money. But that's my point. Like, so I get what you're saying. It wouldn't have been called off because he wouldn't have had to tell the truth.
This is going to sound harsh, but I'm going to go ahead and let it happen, okay, everyone? April is saying this, and I agree. If he would have had his portion of the money, he would have been able to keep shit together, but he completely fell off the mark. You ever try to, like, something goes wrong and you try to hide it and it's cool because it works? Like, this happens to me all the time at work. It's like, I don't try to hide stuff, but it's just like, oh my God, this went wrong. Let's just move along. Let's just not cover it up, but like, let's just move on and try to do this as a workaround or whatever. And it's like, typically everything works out anyway because you've prepared so much in other areas that, oh, it doesn't matter that this wasn't working. We have another chord, or we, like whatever it is, right? But like, if I'm being honest, his shit fell so completely off because he had no control over what was happening. So he couldn't comb it over and say, oh, well, here's my 10 G's or whatever she said they had. Like,
because he didn't have the money.
He did. Well, he not only did he not have the money, but he obviously couldn't even scrape it together. Like,
that's
I don't
the same
know.
Thing.
That's pretty, oh yeah, but it's pretty important. Like your wedding, like we had to come up with that kind of money for our wedding. We don't just have the money sitting around. Like you have to really, this is what I'm trying to say. And I hate to say it like this, but you really have to significantly fuck up for you to miss a big mark like that. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. Everything you're doing is going towards this goal, the shared goal that you have. And there's a plan. And as long as you keep on the plan, on the plots, and on the steps, you got it. But he fell so far off the plan that
because when you're not being completely transparent about what you're having to pay, right? If you have bills that's in somebody else's name and you have to pay it, you can't hold on to that money. You have to get rid of it. So it's like sometimes you have bills to pay that you can't not pay. Like, you got to pay rent, you got to buy food, you got to get gas. Like, these are things that even though you feel like, oh, I only got $700, how am I going to do this? You got to spend all of it to do it. And he ran out of money because he could not get control of those other things. But everything happens for a reason. You know what I'm saying? If he, you know,
I'm not trying to shit on him either, but he couldn't.
No, absolutely not. Everything happens for a reason. This is something good for him and good for her because he needed to get that together so that he can live comfortably. Because I have to imagine that he's very stressed about the money situation.
For sure. And whenever you have something like that going on, it is a relief for you to finally come clean. Like, oh, there, I said it.
And you realize that people will help you, and you don't realize that when you're in the struggle, you just think, oh, I got to try to go through this and do this and do that and do this. And now I think he's seeing that even though some people are against him, that people are out to help him as well. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But shit, now that I know that she told him to do the video, I missed that part or whatever.
I don't know that to be true, but somebody said it.
And I think she said it. I think she said it. I think she told him to do the video. She said it in one of her interviews. That's what I'm gathering from what she said.
All right, listen, I hope this doesn't sound insensitive, but I'm gonna move along because the next thing that I say, I hope it doesn't sound insensitive. But you know, in white people news, listen, everybody, Madonna is on tour. She postponed her tour because she has a serious bacterial infection. I really don't know what's going on with Madonna's face. And that's why I'm concerned. I don't know what a serious bacterial infection is. I appreciate Madonna and her works and what she's done for pop culture. I respect, but I think there's more going on there than a bacterial infection. And I don't know what serious bacterial infection means. Like, do you have what is going on? I don't know. But
I mean, a serious bacterial infection could come from anything if you got something. I mean, it could be anything. Like, you could have had surgery and some shit got infected. You could have fucking had I don't know. Like,
anyway, listen, this isn't even important to, like, I'm going to say, like, this is all messed up or whatever. Like, I feel for her and I want her to be well, but this doesn't have anything to do with my people. So just, if you didn't know, that was the whole reason for me to bring that up. Okay. And this is what I'm saying. I might be a little insensitive. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. And I love someone. There's someone in my life who loves her to pieces, like she was Beyonce or something.
Well, why are we talking about her then?
I mean, this is just our white people news segment. Okay.
I didn't know we had one of those, but in
other white people news, Ryan Seacrest is going to take over for the Wheel of Fortune after Pat Sajak leaves. Blah, blah, blah. I don't even know why I felt the need. I feel like
me either.
And
you cut off the black news that we were talking about to talk about this bullshit.
No, this is a person. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that right on the chin. But this person is a little blacker than the rest of them. This is Pink. Somebody threw their mom's ashes on the stage while she was performing, and she stopped singing to be like, "Is this your mom?" And she was like, "I don't know how I feel about that," and I wouldn't know how to feel about that either. And so I just wanted to bring that up anyway. All right, segueing in because honestly, I'm sorry that I wasted everybody's time on that. Let's get here for the real topics of the evening.
Well, read Mocha's comment first.
Okay. Ryan has too many jobs. Give a black person one of those jobs. Now, I will say this about Ryan Seacrest because I do have mad respect for Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest is like the black Steve Harvey. I mean, sorry, the white Steve Harvey.
Is he?
Kind of. Like, he has color jobs. I just remember when he took American Idol, he was working alongside another guy who, I don't know what happened to that guy, but he quit American Idol like season 2. And Ryan just went on and soared. We didn't know who Ryan Seacrest was before that first episode or first season of American Idol back in, I want to say, like 2002, 2003. And Ryan Seacrest has just taken the ball and run with it. I'm not mad at Ryan Seacrest. He be working. He be out here in these streets, okay? He be having jobs. He be showing up to said jobs. He be having stuff to say. Mad love to Ryan Seacrest. But, you know, who really cares? I mean, here's why I do care. Because there's other people who might benefit from having that job. Like, why did you give Ryan Seacrest another job when he's like a thriving in society white man with all, you know what I'm saying? Like, with his hair and his privilege. It's like, come on, he's okay, everybody. Let's give somebody else a chance. I guess that's really why I even cared about the story, because I was like, oh, this successful white man has another job. Okay. Like, is there not some like working hard as shit comedian that's like Latino?
I mean, there are better options.
Like, there's so many people out here, and I'm not saying, and this kind of is segueing into this topic, but like, there's so many people out here who are working very hard, who want opportunities, and they're deserving of them. But it's like, to slight people who are up and coming or who have put in work to give him another platform. It's like, this is the epitome of this is very non-DEI is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like the people who make these decisions is like, Ryan Seacrest would be a great choice. It's just like, do you only have 3 things in your head, 3 people who would make the cut? Like, you need to broaden your horizons. And I feel like this is where
you say Wheel of Fortune.
It's it's Wheel of Fortune. Sorry, let me go back to that.
We don't need that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all,
we don't know what who even inquired about it or whether they tapped somebody, but I don't watch Wheel of Fortune like that.
I don't watch Wheel of Fortune either, but it's just the idea that like it's another job given to some famous white man who doesn't need another job. Meanwhile, there's millions of people out here who are talented, who do need a job.
Well, I do get that, but do we know if any Black people were inquiring about it? Because if none of us were inquiring about it, then
of course they were. And it's like, look, I'm not even pro. I'm not even saying it should have been a Black person. I'm just saying.
Well, tell us who the list of people were. Who did they pick?
Oh, no. I'm saying that there's hella people out here who are talented, who would have loved that job. I'm certain.
So that's what I'm asking. Who was in the running with him that wanted it? Is somebody speaking out saying that?
No, I don't have a
job for me. So yeah, let's not make that up though, because
it's not making it up. I just know that there's hella people out there who are working to get jobs like that.
So that's what I'm asking. Who was the people in the running with him that they picked him over?
Oh, okay. So I don't have an answer for that. I'm just saying. I'm telling you that.
I'm just saying. Sometimes we assume that they picked that person.
I don't think it's an assumption. I know that there's hella people in the industry who are up and coming comedians who have opportunities that to have comedy shows, and all the people who are subbing them for the Daily Show who are like hungry and are like, I do good work and I make skits and I do this and I do that. And for someone to give Ryan Seacrest another job that he didn't need, you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. Oh, I have a whole list of 100 people who are for that.
I'm not saying that.
I know there was another opportunity for someone else.
So this is why I'm asking. I'm just asking because sometimes we assume that there were a lot of Black people lined up for a certain thing, and there really wasn't. Like, I don't really hear anybody talking about, I wish I could work for Wheel of Fortune. Family Feud, yes. So all I'm saying is, I don't want us to send the impression that we're saying that, we can't make it like, oh, they're picking white people, whatever. And if we don't really know if anybody was actually applying for it, because I mean, the Wheel of Fortune, man. I mean, I watched the Wheel of Fortune.
I get what you're saying. Fair is fair. I get what you're saying. I do not have a list of people. I just know that there are hella people out there making original content who would love that opportunity. And how much
are they paying him?
I don't know. How much?
Because a lot of these people that are making their original content are getting paid off of their original content. You feel what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure, okay, you get somebody from the 85 South show. I'm pretty sure they didn't want to be on the Wheel of Fortune, but they're probably making more money doing what they're doing. Now, of course, they probably paid Ryan Seacrest whatever he asked, but that doesn't mean that we would have gotten that money. So I'm just saying, yeah, I get what you're saying, but
he will get paid $28 million for each season of Wheel of Fortune. Is what Google says.
That's Ryan Seacrest, though.
Yes, that would be Ryan Seacrest. But anyone else would?
Have they ever had a Black host?
No, there's been a Black guest host before, I believe.
Okay.
I think I've seen that. But anyway, point is, Shout out to Ryan Seacrest, whatever the fuck he's doing, it's working. Shout out to everybody who's getting what they want off of their privilege or whatever connections. And then no hate, no shade, but hate and shade. Okay. So
Mocha
anyway,
said she applied, but they discriminated because she's black.
hello. See, Mocha wanted that job. Mocha, that was your job. Thank you for stepping up and showing us. Anyway, I'm now something else has come up on the screen, but what I was trying to share is the Supreme Court's decision to strike down college affirmative action programs. Now, let me say this because this is so relevant to what we were just talking about. I vote for Mocha too. Mocha for Wheel of Fortune host. That would be bomb, and I would start watching again because I used to watch.
I mean, that would make me watch, but
like, think about it. If they were like, I don't know why this name just popped up in my head, but if they were like, I don't even want to say his name because I don't really. He be saying some crazy stuff. If they were saying,
I really need to know who you was gonna say now. Corey Holcomb, who was you about to say?
That's exactly.
No. They were not even considering that.
That's horrible.
I would watch though.
I would not give him the job, everybody.
I definitely would watch.
Who knows what he would say on my grandmother's TV? Like, here's the thing. I feel like, no, he does not deserve the job. But I feel like there's other people like Mike Epps or like, people who who put in their dues and they're not really doing anything. Like,
okay. I always gotta play devil's advocate.
Like, if Mike Epps was hosting Wheel of Fortune, would you not watch? I would.
I would, but let me ask you this: what do you think the demographics for are for on Wheel of Fortune?
Like, I don't care. What were the demographics on Family Feud?
No, but the reason why I'm saying that, I mean, they were probably more towards more black people watching that than Wheel of Fortune, I would think. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but I mean, yeah, if it was a black host, I would probably
You know what? And I'll double down on this. It's not about black people watching. It's about black people getting opportunities. Just because black people aren't watching Wheel of Fortune, perhaps, right, doesn't mean that a black person shouldn't be forefront of that situation, because it's like, it's not like, certainly we're out here spending our dollars as black people. We are a part of the society. We built these buildings that are so historical, but it's not just about like who black is going to watch, who black is going to buy. It's about the fact that like we deserve to be having the same opportunity.
I hear what you're saying, but if you are a black person performing for an all-white audience,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't think that I think that is what I don't know. I'm gonna stop there, but I don't know that anybody wants to do that. But
I feel you. I'm on the other side of that, but I hear what you're saying.
Up. So okay.
We'll come back to that.
No, we don't have to.
Really feel like even if it's not a black person,
we don't have to. But I mean, I just don't see us reviewing what Wheel of Fortune. I don't hear anybody talking about it. Like, I just don't think that was something that we were all like, oh, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I don't think that either.
I get what you're saying, but what my point was is that we can't assume that nobody was up for it, but we don't know who was up for it. We can assume that they just said, oh, let's bring Ryan Seacrest. There may have been some black people up for it. We just don't know what happened, or don't know why they didn't take it. Maybe they didn't take the offer. Maybe they didn't offer them enough, because that's the next thing we would be saying is that we're performing on this show or whatever, and we're not getting paid enough. You know what I'm saying? But the people who are watching are, I mean, I feel like demographics does matter, but
I agree with that. We can agree to disagree on some things, but I do agree with that. As far as like, we don't know who was up for it. We don't know. And I mean, like, at the end of the day, somebody's CEO, somebody made that decision based off of what their viewership is, based off of what they felt was going to be a good fit for their show. I think just the optics for me are that Ryan Seacrest does not need another job when somebody else could have gotten that job. Even if it were another white person, I feel like that would have just been a better look, because it's like, come on, man. He's doing a lot here, and like, let somebody else step up and have some opportunity too. Even if it was another white person, it's just like, look, man, look, we see you. Hi,
this is a fact. That's true.
Wayne Brady would have been
Wayne probably wasn't looking for that because it's not fucking funny. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's not fun. Like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not even checking for that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
look.
Pat Sajak used to be the weatherman for NBC in Burbank, California. His dad was the news coordinator. Okay.
Listen, I'm not mad at Pat Sajak. I think he did a great job for these 93 years that he was on Wheel of Fortune.
Oh my God.
It's so wrong for me to say that. But Pat Sajak, bull tags. Oh yeah, I ain't gonna talk about him.
Oh my God.
I don't want to say anything bad about Pat Sajak because he seems like a nice man, but like he doesn't seem like, I don't know. He's been through. I don't know. I don't know how much he's been through, but he seems like his hands are soft. And I'm glad for him that he's finally going to retire. Anyway, let's get into the Supreme Court situation because I have a lot to say, and I think you might have a lot to say as well. Now, the Supreme Court, with their hating asses, and it wasn't even a unanimous vote, but they have struck down the affirmative action programs that were developed in the 60s. I did a little bit of research on this. It's like, with our whole civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s and beyond, to be honest, but like it was really heightened, when Martin Luther King was out here in these streets. Things were happening where people were finally getting seats at the table. There's affirmative action. There's like, you should have some colored people at your college. You should have some colored people in your jobs. Like, there's no reason why you should just be picking all white people to do things, which is ironically the same thing we were just saying in the last segment. But today, the Supreme Court has struck down the affirmative action programs that were in place for almost 50 years. Maybe more. Oh, that's more. Okay, sorry, my math is bad. But now they've struck down these affirmative action programs, and I'm sort of torn between this is good news and this is bad news. It was not a unanimous decision. It was a split decision, and I can almost tell you just from my memory, like who probably voted for this. It's the same people who voted for the Roe versus Wade. Like, listen, they don't want people to have abortions. They don't want people to have control over their bodies. They don't want blacks. They don't want Asians. They don't want anybody commingling. And I have something to say about that. But how do you feel about it? Because I don't want to be like, So
I did not get to read about this, so I don't know what is. So it's a split decision. What does that mean? Like,
that means the Supreme Court they don't have to come to a unanimous decision. Mm-hmm. It's like some people can decide one way and some people can decide the other way, and that means that whoever has the most votes, that's the way that the Supreme Court's vote.
Right. So what does it mean?
Okay, so that means that the parameters that were in place, it was a divided ruling. So that means that now the colleges that are white colleges no longer have to have a number of Black and Latino students at their
so they did that for all the schools across the board.
Well, so it actually applied to two schools, Harvard and University of North Carolina. But now that the ruling has been gotten, because it got pushed up to the Supreme Court, so now this is the precedent. So now all the other schools can go by this ruling because now we don't have to go by affirmative action laws. Now if somebody sues, they can go back and reference this case and say, the Supreme Court ruled on this case, so that means that this will be valid. So the two schools.
So do we get to keep our HBCUs all Black then?
We sure fucking can. And that was going to be my point, because it's time to stop asking for a seat at the table and just go build our own table. And we have all these HBCUs, more than 100 of them. And I feel like this, no, I don't.
That probably will affect some of the funding that they've been getting too, though.
What, HBCUs?
Mm-hmm. Because, you know, like a lot of them just
Yeah.
got a lot of funding. But I feel like some of our celebrities, our Black celebrities, should be the ones that are putting back into those schools, though. Like Puffy did it, and a couple of other people have done it, but I think that they should do that.
I mean, everybody, Black celebrities, white celebrities, because this is some, I'm going to say this is some BS, because the idea that this came about, it's like, it's the same thing I felt when Roe versus Wade was being adjusted. It's like you're gonna go back and you're gonna say, oh, well, you had these rights for all this time, but never mind, we're changing. And it's like, who makes you the emperor where you can come and affect our lives? Like, go have several seats. So I feel like this is just a shining of light, a highlight onto the idea that we shouldn't even be asking anybody to go to their school. Like, as and I'm saying this for Black people, on behalf of Black people, because I've been nominated. But this is on behalf of anybody of color, because it affects anybody who's not white, right? So like now, affirmative action laws were covering people of color. It's not just Black people. But like if Harvard or the University of North Carolina doesn't want you at their school, and now by law they don't have to go by those rules that were put in place several decades ago, that just means that, are you going to fight to have them accept you, or are you just going to go to another school and support another school? And I mean, I'm all the way on fire right now just thinking about this, because it's like Isaac Hayes the third has fan base, and he's made several statements about Black culture and how people want to be Black, and how people look to Black people's culture for it to be cool, to be relevant, to be hip, to be fun. Like Black people, we just have it all. We're just the coolest.
Plus, we're the best at everything. We're the best at sports. We're the best singers.
Or whatever, but listen, people are always looking into our culture, into our music, into our fashion, into our verbiage, into our slang, into our walk, into our talk, everything we do. And I'm just like, you know what? If they will not want us at their school, then we should want to be at their school. We should go to our own school.
Isn't it crazy, our own thing. How back in the day they were fighting to be accepted and on the same level, and now it looks like we're like, leave us alone, we want to go this way. But what I want to know is it only going to stop at schools? Is it going to affect jobs? Is it going to go further than that?
I believe it will affect a lot of things. And furthermore, okay, this is why it's very important for us to see this as an opportunity to just invest in ourselves. And one of the things that I've been noticing from some of the studies, like, okay, so now I haven't been doing these studies, but one of the people that I read a lot is Seth Godin, and he was just on this podcast talking about the studies of how Ivy League schools and like these large schools are losing money because after the pandemic happened, all of these people are going back to trades. They're going, especially now that like AI exists and so many things, you got self-checkout and all this. It's like things are shifting. So people aren't finding the same value in an Ivy League degree that you got to pay the rest of your life to support like a loan for. It's just like you can make a living other ways. And so it doesn't really make sense for you to go and spend $500,000 on a degree and then still not be guaranteed a job. So I think things are going to flip in the next few years, up to like the next like 5 years, like 3 to 5 years. And I think we're going to see that there's other ways to make money other than to spend your money on some Ivy League school or some really expensive school, and then not even be able to get an entry level or manager position job.
I mean, because a lot of people are making more money.
That school back. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people are making more money off of their experience and hands-on. And now, like you said, like the pandemic, I think showed a lot of people, even companies and stuff like that, like, listen, you don't even need to have a brick and mortar building to be in business. You can hire people from all over the country. Like I have a lot of coworkers that moved to different states. They still work for my company, but they live, living in Georgia or living in North Carolina and stuff like that. And, I mean, and then Black entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? So
Hello. That's what I say. It's time to like really start pouring into, you know, being more of yourself. If you're into, whatever you're into, porcelain. I'm into porcelain. I love making porcelain mugs and whatever it is that you're into. But
porcelain eggs, maybe those eggs that
I
like I
don't
think
remember those.
something, some of those or whatever. But and you got one for didn't you get one from your in-laws, or was that a Christmas ornament?
It might have been an ornament. I don't know. I don't think I have it if I did. But if it was an ornament, then I probably still have it with our Christmas stuff. But like the thing is, whatever you're into, it's time to start just developing that and getting better at that, and then be the best porcelain egg maker that ever was. You know what I'm saying? Because the money is no longer in the degree and the mid manager job. It's like, do you be a specialist, and then your tribe will evolve, your tribe will be attracted to you. And so it's interesting to me because it's like I started to feel a way when I saw this affirmative action stuff come out, and then I was like, you know what, if they don't want people in their schools, then why would you fight to be there? Like, and I get the whole.
Look, let's talk about what's that going to affect though, because a lot of these schools have Black sports players on their basketball teams, on their football teams, and I just want them to know that you ain't gonna win a game if you don't have this included or whatever. And I don't know how that's gonna work out. That's kind of crazy though that would even happen. So tell me the beginning part, like it was a Chinese student, right?
Wait, what?
It was a Chinese student that brought this case forward, right?
Oh no. Well, no, I don't even know. Was it a college Chinese student? I thought it was a Black.
Like, what was the whole point of the case? How did it start?
It was an affirmative action program at the University of North Carolina and Harvard. I don't know that it was one that started it. I think it was just Rage Against the Machine, that like we shouldn't have to follow these laws. Like these laws are outdated. Somebody had to start it. You're absolutely right. Because great day for America. I swear Trump is never.
Because I thought it was. That's why I need to go research the article, because I thought it was some Chinese students or a Chinese student that did not get in somewhere. But I gotta go look it up.
I have to go back and look and see if that was the beginning of it. But I know.
How did it get to the Supreme Court?
Right. Well, there were two cases. It was one at the University of North Carolina and one at Harvard. But honestly, I don't know who was the first. So that is something that I need to go back and look at.
Well, we'll talk about that again next week, because that is something that I'm going to look at. And,
I mean, because look, this stuff is happening all around us, and whether we know about it or not, it's going to affect us eventually, because like this is going to be a domino effect, and something's going to get, every time something gets changed, it's like a domino effect. And
I mean, I feel like anytime something gets changed, it's going to affect us first. So, you know, for sure, but just this ain't our world.
To your point, though,
someone did say the suit was from a group of Asian students. Which is crazy because they're not considered white, right? So,
but to your point, it's going to affect everyone. A lot of people like to think that, oh, we got our way, but like, yeah, you're going to be affected as well.
I mean, come on, could you imagine the world without Black people?
No, I can't.
Like, a lot of the products and stuff that you use, you wouldn't be able to use. You wouldn't have that many cool singers. You wouldn't have, the trendy thing. Like, you wouldn't have a lot of shit if it wasn't for Black people. So, anyway, I digress.
Or Asian people, or Asian people, or Latino
color, people of color,
Indian people, people of color. Period.
People
like
of color.
We provide
because it's everybody. It's everybody. It's all people of color, because we all bring something that you guys just did not have.
Listen,
and that's no shade, but like
we are the culture, everyone. Like all the little things that you love to do and study and be and strive to, and all the music
of that. Like, that's crazy.
it's like wild to me that you would want to, separate all the things that you strive for. It's wild.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting to me, but it also makes me feel like, listen, asking you shall receive. I feel like let's see how this works out, because when people start to really organize and come up in their own ways and they don't want to be a part of your whatever, like it's going to affect everyone. So there's that, everyone. Okay, let's move on to the next. And I mean, I'm all about
Mocha's comment.
First of all, okay, I will do that, but I have to bring this up too. Okay, wait. What's my name? Okay. Mocha said a white conservative filed for some Asian students. Oh, but it has backfired on them, and it will continue to. I feel like when you try to separate culture from, like when people try to separate cultures from like the white culture or the mainstream, it's always going to backfire. It's a big mistake. Like all of the is if you think about what America is and how everybody comes here and brings their culture and brings their know-how and brings their can-do attitude and brings their inspiration, and how so many people want to come to America because they just want to live out their dreams. And then you think about the people who are here depressed and empty and sad, and they have all the things you could ever think of, but they want to shut people out who have dreams to bring here. It's very ironic to me, because it's like this very same life that you're rejecting is the life that you need to bring you up. I just had, I don't know. I just had to say that because I just feel like when you reject people like that, it's definitely going to backfire, but it's not going to backfire on all of us. So anyway,
I gotta look more into that because that's crazy.
Speaking of HBCUs though, and I just have to say this because we weren't speaking of HBCUs, but I just want to say that there's a podcast about HBCUs that you should all check out. It's called Homecoming, the HBCU podcast, and they're just getting started, and they have so many things to say, so many stories to tell, and so that's
shout out to the HBCU podcast. It's Homecoming HBCU podcast. What is it? Homecoming, the
HBCU podcast. They can be followed on Instagram. You could go to Linktree, Homecoming, the HBCU podcast, and follow them on all the other platforms. But they've got a lot to say. They've been interviewing people.
They're funny too.
And they're funny. They're entertaining. But, they're telling a lot of stories that need to be told. So just wanted to shout them out briefly.
Say the name again.
Homecoming, the HBCU podcast. If you on Instagram. And if you go to Linktree/Homecoming, the HBCU podcast, you can find them on all the other platforms. Okay, moving right along. And this is funny. We're not going to spend too much time here, but I have to say that Anacostia, the Anacostia River, if you live in DC, this is going to be hilarious to you. They're trying to make Anacostia River swimmable. Now, if you've ever ridden past this river, you would dare put a toe in there. Because what in the actual fuck? But somebody got it in their mind that it's a good idea that DC area residents could swim in the river. And Saturday, July 8th, they're going to host this thing called Splash, where people are going to reconnect with the river and go swimming. And so, listen.
Okay, time out. Gwendolyn says, I was told white people are on the board of directors of HBCUs. Can you check this out? Yeah, we need to look into that. But on the topic of what you're talking about, I'm going to write that down, Gwendolyn. But on the topic,
Gwendolyn is absolutely correct. If you look back at the history of HBCUs, the very beginning of so HBCUs were created because we're going back to that now, okay? Because we were not accepted at other universities. In the beginning, the president...
But they want to come to HBCUs.
Hello? In the beginning, where HBCUs were being established, the presidents and deans of those colleges were actually white people. So that is the history of it. Like there are.
Because let's not miss the fact that everybody don't think like that, and there are some white people who are going to be pissed about this as well.
For sure. For sure, because now you can't have like it's so funny how people think they're like got them there, and then they don't realize that they're going to be missing out on culture, activity, music, life. We are life. People of color. I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about people of color, people who are Indian.
That's like a whole like flavor board of food that you're about to just miss out on. You know what I'm saying?
People who are Indian, from India, not
Indian,
Native American,
Mexican, Asian, like
hello,
all of that.
All of that. You're missing out on all of that. And it's like, look, and you still gonna be trying to watch BET, trying to catch the dance move for your TikTok. But it's all good. We're not even tripping because you know what I'm saying? Like this is like Isaac Hayes III said, like we create. There's no end to our creativity. So, when you get bored and you don't know what to do with yourself and you want to come looking for the blacks, we'll be over here creating our own thing.
But we're going to be having an eternal cookout.
I digress.
Otis My Live says, yes, many were tasked with raising funds for the colleges where there was no state or federal funding. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It's so interesting to me because even out of all of our cultures, it's like I don't really ever hear about other people trying to like seclude themselves, like, well, we just only want these people here. It's like most other cultures are sharing and they want to show what they've created. They want to show their history. They want to show their legacy. They're proud of what they've created. They're proud of like their parents and their grandparents, and they're proud. And it's like they want to share. And like, but it's only people who made this decision in the Supreme Court that want to be like stingy, but they ain't got nothing to share. We built all y'all shit. Okay, anyway.
Okay, so on to this, right? There was some other moments. There was like a day where people would go down to the Anacostia River because your father actually did this before. When your nephew was little or whatever, and he didn't get in, but like I've seen people in there before. But
the river,
listen, it's bodies in there, y'all. It's so many things in the Anacostia River that if I see any of my friends down there, I'm clowning you and I might do a video because what are you doing? It's a staph infection waiting to catch you.
Hello, everybody.
A bacteria infection waiting to catch you in the Anacostia River. Okay. Why is this a thing? No, absolutely not.
Everybody, we just reported on Madonna's infection. Remember that before you go jumping in the Anacostia. And I say Anacostia because I think it's hilarious because it's not a place you really want to be like that. And I see people out there fishing sometimes. I'm like, what are you doing? But no hate, no shade. I think Anacostia is a great place to come with your little your boombox, and you play your cool in the game.
Go down there, eat some crabs.
Yeah, have fun outside of the river. But I would get in there and let's just remember, everyone, that Blue Plains.
It's not for
Blue Plains is a mile away, and Anacostia actually runs into the Potomac. So,
and for all those of y'all who don't know what Blue Plains is, what is it? It's the place where they
clean the water. It's like the place where when you flush your toilet, everything goes there.
I was about to say, we did a field trip there when I was in high school. Was I in high school or middle school? I would never forget because I was like, it smells like shit. And then we had to eat lunch while we were there. And I was thinking, y'all gonna eat this food?
I'm hungry. Where are y'all getting this from?
They had chicken patties and french fries. I was like, I am not eating that shit.
What? And then the thing is, people go to Blue Plains to get like, I guess, fertilizer for their land or something. I don't know. But I would never, you could not pay me to jump in the Anacostia.
At all. Well, you might be able to pay me to do it.
I don't think so.
It depends on the amount of money. I jump in and get out, but I would not. No. That's for money, though.
In the pool and swallow the gulp of water.
No, but you know what? Like I said, I know for a fact that there's probably some bodies in there. I just would not. I don't know. I mean, if the price is right.
This is the type of things. This is so wrong. Listen, these are the types of decisions that are made when there are no Black people around.
I definitely wouldn't do it for free. Put it like that.
I want people to understand that these decisions are made when there's no Black people around and be like, why would you do that? right? And this is why you should have Black people at your schools. But anyway, we're gonna move along because shout out to everybody who's brave enough to get into the Anacostia River. It won't be me. I do want to shout out this funny meme from shout out to the DMV Daily who put this up on their Instagram. Swimming in the Anacostia River is gonna be like.
Yep.
I agree that that's probably exactly what it's gonna be like.
I agree too. Like, what the fuck? Why is that an idea?
Okay, I'm just going to touch on this briefly just because it happened. I heard about it today. But this is Chrissy Teigen and John Legend's newest baby. He looks just like John Legend.
He do. I was about to say that.
If you don't know, they had some issues. Like I think miscarried or gave a stillborn or something like that. Birth of stillborn like a year ago. This is their fourth child. His name is Ren. And he is so cute. He just looks so chill. You know what? And I think he can sing.
Oh my God.
I don't know that for sure, but he's so cute.
He is cute. Okay, anyway, shout out to them.
And then I guess we have our last topic, which is our main topic. Well, I don't know. I think our main topic might have been one of the others we covered, but one of these things that I saw, and I think you sent this to me, but I thought it was really interesting because this is Charlemagne talking to Natalie Nunn. I'm gonna play it in a second.
Yo, that joke was funny as I don't know what to me.
Now I don't know how old this clip was, but I felt like it was so relevant.
When is the comments from?
The comments were only from a few days ago, and I feel like it would have been relevant a few days ago. But he also could have posted it could have happened a long time ago. I actually did do some research and found out that. There was a couple of things that I saw from him speaking on it, but I couldn't actually pinpoint like when this was from. But it's still relevant. So whether he made these comments today or 10 years ago, it's the same.
She had that energy on that job. Okay, play it.
I'm gonna play it.
You're the definition of a woman who has.
Oh.
A bitch ass guy. Okay. I'm just gonna tell you because
no doubt.
At the end of the day, there's girls out there who are, they hate. But what would you be so mad about?
You're the definition of a woman who has no talent. You're the reason that all of these chicks are running to these reality shows. All that means nothing because you did Bad Girls Club.
It doesn't matter.
You're known as the loudmouth, big chin chick from the Bad Girls Club. Nobody cares about your USC
and
degree.
I love it. But you are the definition of a bitch ass guy. I'm just gonna tell you because
no doubt.
And so here's one of the things that I have to say. Okay, wait, do you want to react first or do you want to?
No, go ahead.
Listen.
I just laugh every time somebody says she has a big ass chin, but go ahead.
Yeah, she is big chin Natalie, okay? But I don't think she's in position to say who's a bitch ass guy because she has not produced anything significant for anybody's culture, for anybody's well-being, for anybody's legacy. Like, I don't know what she's done that's so great. Like the best thing that I can think of that she's done is when they did that fight with her and Tommy and they actually made money and then they hugged after. And I was like, oh, that's cool. There are jokes on everybody who thought they were really beefing. Right. But like, she isn't produced anything amazing. So it's interesting to me that she would call Charlemagne a bitch ass guy. Like everybody's entitled to their opinion.
He is a bitch ass nigga, but she does have that show on Zeus. But I thought it was funny when she called him a bitch ass nigga because everybody thinks Charlemagne's a bitch ass nigga, but he did have a point. I had a picture of her from the last show that they did. I guess it's called The Baddies now. And I mean, she's the whole producer of all that. That's nothing for the culture. It's not positive, obviously, but I guess she's giving other people jobs. But she had this picture where she was smoking a cigarette or she was vaping or something, and she turned to the side and did to blow the smoke out.
But and her chin was probably like, you're far.
Natalie, I need you to be cognizant of the fact from the big chin crew, because my chin ain't as big as hers, but I do got a long face. And I'm not trying to be caught out there like that shit. I was like, man, this is just a bad look or whatever. But I don't know. I guess, these two people to me are, Charlemagne is a bitch ass nigga.
Do you think so? I guess.
You don't?
I guess it could be argued.
I'm not saying that he won't never have points, but he just seems like I mean,
sure. Like
I don't know him to say that, but
he wouldn't be the first on my list to like speak at my event type of thing. But I feel like he's provided more for his legacy or for like Black culture than she has. Like more tangible, like actively progressive and like.
I guess that's what we're ranking. I was just looking at the conversation and I thought it was funny. Even a person who hasn't done something for the culture can have a point from time to time.
Sure, absolutely.
But I never compared the two.
The sun shines on the dog's ass.
He does do some things or say some things that are not for the Black culture. Like he does.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I don't know. I do think that he's a BAN though, but I'm gonna stop saying that because I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I just he's not my go-to for advice or anything like that. I think that it was funny that both of them were arguing back and forth like that. That both of them said the same thing to each other, but they both had points. You know what I'm saying?
I can agree with that. I can agree with that, but it brought me to a bigger thought of. Really kind of got me onto the BET Awards, honestly. But at the same time, it made me think of like all of the people who I follow who create content and like art, or like, and it made me ask myself like, what kind of value am I providing? Like, what am I contributing? What am I creating? Is it something that's advancing? Is it something that's worthy of someone's like time or thoughts or interests, right? And it made me think of it honestly first thing made me think was the BET Awards, because there were some things that happened there that I was like, I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you did a post about a couple of posts about the BET Awards.
You watched it, right?
I did. Now I didn't get through the whole thing, gonna be honest.
I heard it was long as hell because I didn't watch the whole thing either.
I couldn't watch the whole thing, everybody. Like, everybody there is not talented. It's not like it used to be.
Did you know who everybody was?
No, not everybody. Like, when they introduced them, sure. But, like, I didn't know who everybody was. And actually, I got a few surprises. I got a few surprises and a few disappointments. Now, we're talking about the BET Awards overall. There were a couple of things that stood out to me. I appreciated, like, certain people that I didn't think I was going to appreciate. Some things were surprising, like, okay, Redman's performance was clutch. I completely appreciated Redman. I completely appreciated Keith Murray. I completely appreciated what's his name, Busta Rhymes, but he was way too long-winded. Like, this is not Busta Rhymes Day.
He won the Lifetime Achievement Award. Okay, he gets.
I get it, but I get it, and he deserves that time. He deserves that time, but I just was not, like, he lost me. Like, in this day and age when we're looking at 30-second videos and reels and stuff, like, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? I was disappointed in a couple of people, not because they're not good artists, but because I just expected more. And overall, I felt like today, this is what makes me feel a little old. I felt like today's music is not living up to what was set out before them to live up to. Now, it's not too late, you know what I'm saying? But like, if you think about like even just like, if I just took it for what it's worth, like there were no memorable performances. I'll say no. There were some memorable performances. Actually, one person who surprised me was Ice Spice, because she seems a little boring to me.
I didn't even know who the fuck she was.
She seems a little boring to me, but she caught my attention, and she kept my attention throughout her performance.
You didn't like Coco Jones' performance?
I did, but it was, I guess I expected her to do that because she's a great performer. Like, she's a great singer. Like, I enjoyed her performance. I didn't, write home about it, but I enjoyed her performance. I expected Lotto to do more. Like, she danced well, but I expected her to be live singing. She like just had her tongue out the whole time, and I was just like, okay, well, what is this doing? And it made me think of like, and I know this is a stretch, but I gotta go back. It made me think of like people before us, before our.
They thought the same thing about our music.
I'm sure they did, but there were people who were actually performing though. right? Like there were people in our era who were actually performing, and now it just doesn't seem like that. It's just like everybody's just twerking and like not really singing live.
I mean, because
like,
the one thing that's gonna happen is things are gonna change, right?
Yeah.
When music was out back in the day, we didn't listen to mommy and daddy stuff or whatever. We did sometimes, and probably more so now because we have a better appreciation.
Yeah.
But they thought some of our music was noise. You know what I mean? So like for the life of me, I cannot get with the bounce beat go-go. I need some old school go-go. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing with this? Dun, dun, dun? What y'all doing? But I feel old because I'm like, okay, shit has to change. They're enjoying it. It's their thing, their vibe or whatever. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But I didn't know who the people were, but that's when I realized, okay, I really am almost 50. On top of the fact that Busta Rhymes is receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, because historically it was always somebody that was like, you know, older than us, that was like, you know,
Patti LaBelle,
right? Who? Oh my God, let's talk about that.
I don't want to disrespect.
The funny thing though is she had that song that said, I must rehearse my life.
Oh my God. You're so wrong with that.
Clearly she did that night. But I was just like, you know, they could have helped Patty out.
No.
By making the words bigger on the teleprompter.
I don't know. I don't think the teleprompter was working, but I also feel like she's old school. She should have known the words, but she didn't really fuck with. She didn't really fuck with Tina though.
Tina Turner probably knew her songs, so
I'm sure she
right.
did.
But then her ass should have known better to try to sing it, because she knew that we were gonna say something.
She didn't really like Tina Turner, honestly. I look back and somebody had put something up about her, and Tina Turner had like a little you know, situation where she went to go hug her one time, and Tina was like, "Oh, you're moist," because she had just been offended. I was like, I guess I would be a little bit offended.
Would you do a tribute to somebody that you didn't really fuck with? I
would, but I would do a great job.
Like them? Why would you do that?
Patty is of a certain age. She looked really good. I gotta give her respect for that. But like, just speaking of Tina Turner, I'm laughing in my mind because when she passed away a month or so ago, I went back and looked up some of my favorite performances that I used to look at, and they used to perform, and it's like so funny because they didn't have all of the technology that we had. She would sit up there, sing and dance live, and then jump off a whole 4-foot stage to go do an interview, and then get back up there and perform. And it's like, they didn't have all of the stuff that we had. They didn't have like, oh, play my music so that I don't have to sing. They had to perform. They had to really perform, and they had to really sound good every time. And even when she sang that one song, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was Over a Symphony. And I have to imagine that, like, you didn't have I know they didn't have auto-tune. And she had to sing that thing. She had to be there live. She had to.
So did Patty. Patty came from that era as well. So she is, you know, like I said, I would not accept the offer to sing a tribute to anybody that I didn't fuck with, just because of the fact that I didn't fuck with them, and people could figure out that I didn't fuck with them. Did she do it on purpose? Like, I don't know. But we are here to hear the performance, and you didn't know the words and all of that. She couldn't hear the band.
Oh, that was
also Aunt Patty. They, you know. Whatever, you know, it is what it is. But I mean, I don't know.
People were giving a lot of like commentary around like the fact that those was the 50 year hip hop anniversary, and this didn't bring it. And I feel like this is not the hip hop awards. Let's see what happens in October. I think that's when the hip hop awards are, because this isn't necessarily like the full representation of hip hop. It's the BET Awards.
But it's the BET Awards, and it's so many, just like you were saying about Ryan Seacrest, there's so many other people they could have picked that would have killed it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you know, it's Patty. Respect. No shade, but y'all could have helped Auntie out. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think about them not having a host? How do you think
that was whack? I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I feel like you need a host, because a host is there for a purpose. They're going to read the audience. They're going to bridge the gaps. They're going to make commentary and they're going to engage the audience. And I feel like it was a reason for a lot of the debauchery that was happening in the audience. I was not cool with some of the stuff that I saw that was happening in the audience.
What did you see in the audience?
Okay, so first off, even before I was on social media, I noticed that like whenever they would come back from commercial, it would just be a conglomerate of people like by the stage, and I was like, what are they doing really? Like, what would make you get up out of your seat and go to the stage? Like, what are you doing? It just reminds me of the annoying ass group of people in the club that, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like always a group of people who are just doing the wrong thing.
Right, sit down.
And I sat down. I was really, I feel like John Witherspoon right there. But like, I just felt like, what are you doing, right? Like, I was not entertained by that. And then the other thing that I saw was like these women twerking in the aisles. And it's like, everybody's seen a twerk. Okay. We're not impressed. Like, do something else. This is one of the problems that I have with people who only have that one talent, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, sure, you can twerk. We can all twerk. Like, maybe everybody can't twerk. But if you don't have something else going for you, then you're not talented, right? Like, it's like, if that's the only thing that you have to offer, then like it's not valuable anymore, because we don't care. Like, it doesn't really do anything for humanity. That's really kind of what I was thinking about when I talked about when I was thinking about like my take on the BET Awards and my take on like providing value and like, what are you contributing? Like, what's your legacy? Because it's like, if you're creating something, and this is kind of like what I was thinking about in the whole award show, and why I was so taken aback and just excited when I saw Redman come up there. Redman came down the aisle on a bike with his crazy ass, and he got up on stage and he killed it. And I just felt the energy. And then Keith Murray got up on stage and he killed it. And I just felt the energy. And even Ja Rule got up there, and I wouldn't say he killed it. He dropped the mic. It's just like, listen, man, you're not really all that. But
do you remember, were you at my college when you were
yes,
there? Redman,
you remember when me a blunt.
You remember when y'all, I went to Morgan State.
Morgan,
and they had Redman, Method Man, Keith Murray, Frederick Starr. Oh, and I did not know who the fuck Keith Murray was. We were in the crowd and we were waiting for the next people to come out, but we were booing other people before that. So once Keith Murray came out, I'm like, boo, get him off the stage. Like, bitch, that's Keith Murray. I was like, who is that? And then I got all the way together. But they from the old school, you know what I'm saying? So what do you think about Tyler Perry possibly purchasing? Did he actually purchase BET? And
yes. Oh, so they
what do you think changes he's gonna make?
I mean, all right. Well, historically, you know, Tyler Perry is coming. He's shaking things up. I would hope that he, you know, if I'm thinking about what he has done in the past, I think the changes that he would make is he would probably clean up some processes. Like, you know, historically, BET has been known for being semi-ghetto, like, oh, something always doesn't work. The sound isn't right, or the video isn't right, or we cut too soon, or right, like something isn't right. The pan is to the left and it should have been over here. Like, I think that he's going to come and clean up some things like that, and they might not be very visible at first. Mm-hmm. But I also think from a commercial standpoint, he's going to, like, here's the thing, and let me just make this sort of like a tier thing, like from a top-down perspective. I think Tyler Perry is a visionary. and I think he observes, and then he masters, and then he implements. Mm-hmm. And this is what I've observed from him, right? It's just like he watches and he figures out, how does this thing work? And then he masters it, and he's like, oh, if it works this way, then I'm going to do it this way until I find a better way. Then he finds a better way, and then he implements, and then he makes it a better way. And so I think if he follows that same thing that I've seen him do over the past 20 years, then in 5 years or so, BET is going to be more reputable, more watchable. People are going to know it. And one of the things that happens in our culture is like, we just want to make it good enough to be like all the Black people watching. But I don't think Tyler Perry thinks like that. I think he's thinking on a larger scale of like, okay, well, here's a Black platform, but everybody gonna be watching, right? It's like there's more out there than that. It's not just one group of people. It's like we're gonna make this so good that everybody can't help but watch. And so I hope
as long as he don't bring those wigs and mics that he be using his
oh my goodness. No Beijing.
Like,
no Beijing.
Why? I wonder not why, but I was wondering what point did he think I'm about to buy BET? That's a move.
Oh, I think he probably thought about that a long time ago.
That might have been like a long-standing goal or whatever. But okay, so my last thought about the BET Awards is that, you know, I feel like the naked women was in abundance. I'm like, when did we start just going out in draws and like see-through nightgowns or whatever? Because everybody is not Sierra. So I mean, Jess Hilarious had on a see-through Joan, and we probably could have done without that one. I don't know the names of the other people, but it was a lot of people in just like bikinis or bras and underwear and just see-through whatever. Like no mystery or nothing. Like everybody just look at every part of my body while I'm out here. I was just maybe that's the old person in me.
No, I don't think it is. I think it brings value down because if that's what you're showcasing, then that's what people are going to pay attention to. And if you have other talents, it's going to be harder to see those other talents when you're just forecast, like you're just putting up front, you're, you know, like this is all I can focus on. If you don't have, especially if you don't have other talents and you're just showing your body, like it's going to get very stale. But then also it's going to put a mark on other people who look like you. So I don't like that, but you know, everybody's entitled to their own way of being. I will say this, and this is one thing that perhaps I should say for another show, but fuck it, I'm going to preview it now. When I thought about like, what are you contributing? What are you creating? Legacy. I was looking at some stuff about Wildin' Out earlier today.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to have to remember this for July 28th, but Wildin' Out debuted on July 28th, 2005, which is right. And I didn't know it went back that far. Now they were, you know, they started on MTV. They kind of took some turns and they weren't on every year, but I just got to give a shout out to Nick Cannon for having that sort of insight. And like, if you remember, of course you do, remember In Living Color and other things like that, that probably inspired Nick Cannon to do something like a Wildin' Out. But when we talk about what people are contributing with their content and their creativity and their legacy, I appreciate things like Wildin' Out. I appreciate people like Nick Cannon who make lanes for other people to come up and make their own way. And I just want to shout out a few people here: B. Simone, Emmanuel Hudson, Affion Crockett, Mikey Day, a white person. So I'm not just pro-Black all the time, every day, all day. This guy named Conceited, who I love. I think he's hilarious.
Who's the De La Ghetto dude?
De La Ghetto.
First name was it Timothy De La Ghetto? I forget. He was the Asian guy that was on there.
Oh, I know exactly.
I forgot his first name. I forgot his first name.
Okay, yeah. I'm about to find it right now. Dang, I know exactly who you're talking about. I don't have his name right now, but
I can't remember his first name. I know it was something De La Ghetto. I want to say Timothy De La Ghetto.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I just know that was people who came up off of that show, and I want to give a special shout out to the 85 South crew. Couple things I want to mention about them. I just appreciate the three of them. They're, you know, made up of Carlos. Oh man, what is his last name? Anyway.
I can't remember, but I know you're talking about
DC Young Fly and Chico Bean. Chico Bean is from DC.
He was just on Everything Legendary's Instagram page trying their Everything Legendary burger with their special sauce or whatever, because they're having like celebrities try it or whatever. But yeah, shout out to them.
I appreciate, so starting from Wild 'N Out, I appreciate the opportunities that were afforded to people who were creating their, personas and having an opportunity to be creative and to showcase their talent. And out of that, we get these sort of spin-off, not even spin-off. I don't even want to minimize it to that. We get people who have had the opportunity to showcase and hone their talent to propel to other platforms, like Carlos and DC Young Fly and Chico Bean, who now are the 85 South crew. Couple things that I just want to say about them because they're pretty dope. Let me switch to this. Let me share this tab. They actually not only have a Netflix special, but they obviously have a podcast. One of the things that I was looking at a recent interview that I was looking at is that they have this platform called channel85.com. Now, they did this because they've been doing the 85 South show for years. And they got a Netflix special based off of they've been touring for years also. And this is they all started out, I think they met each other on Wild 'N Out, which I think is dope. I just do.
But I mean, a lot of people came through Wild 'N Out. It was like the new 106 in Park. You know what I'm saying?
And now they have had their own thing for several years. But what's interesting to me about them is that Carlos basically was saying that, we needed to have our own platform because we started to notice that on other platforms, we weren't people can decide whether they want to pay you or not. People can decide whether they want to censor you or not. And we have our own content and we want to showcase our own talent, and we shouldn't be censored or we shouldn't be apologetic or trying to conform to people's, I'm paraphrasing, but to people's standards or whatever. Because at the end of the day, they're going to make money off of you, whether you make money off of it or not. They're going to keep your content up there. They're just going to demonetize you. And so I thought that was really cool. So I just want to shout out channel85.com. It's all spelled out in words. Channel 85, not the number, but the words 85.com.
Did you watch their Netflix special yet?
I haven't watched the Netflix special.
I've been looking at it, but I wasn't in a position to watch it, so I'm like, I'm gonna come back.
Apparently, it hit #1, which I'm so not shocked. I think these are three talented, and I'm saying three, but I know there's a whole bunch of people behind that machine, and I feel like these are amazing people who are showcasing their talent, honing their talent right before our eyes, and I feel like they're all deserving and hardworking people. And so I just, I really love them. I'm really starting to learn a lot more about them. And I give them love, and I hope that it's not even hope. I can tell that they're hard workers. They also observed and figure out how things worked, and they made it happen. And so I'm so grateful and proud of these people. I just wish them nothing but the best. They're effing hilarious. I was watching an interview with them and Angela Yee earlier. Yo, I just could not stop laughing out loud at some of the things they were saying, but they're all funny. All three of them are funny. It's they can't be stopped. So shout out to them. That's all.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. I have it on my. I gotta watch that, and I gotta watch The Perfect Fine because I keep seeing people post about that movie with Gabrielle Union on Netflix. So I gotta watch that too.
Shout out to Coily Ray too, because I don't think I mentioned her, but I think I laughed at her before in my life because she said something a few years ago about her having the best freestyle or something, and I was like, huh? What? But I appreciate her energy and I appreciate what she's doing. I feel like she's much smarter than people think she is, and she's a great performer. I like Coily Ray. She actually had put out a tweet a little while ago saying that there hasn't been a #1 rap song in all this year, calling all the female rappers to the front, and she kind of put out a video of Missy Elliott and anyway, she's trying to call all the female rappers to make a unity record.
Sorry.
Yeah. That was on June 13th.
I got you. When I get off here, you're going to get a treat. Calm down.
Anyway, those are my shout outs this week.
Down. Lord have mercy, you hit your head. I'm sorry. Well, I got all types.
Oh my gosh, she's being such a mom.
He got a circadian rhythm that is like no other. Okay, he knows what time he's supposed to get a treat. He knows what time he's supposed to eat.
Look,
and now he like, look, bitch, it's time for my treat.
That's like Buttercup.
She
just doesn't even care about the rest of us. But anyway, listen, guys. Those are all the. I do want to give a few more shout outs while we're on the subject of like content creation and like what value you're providing and contributing and what's your legacy. Got to give a shout out to Kamisha Reviews. She's doing her thing out here. She's building from the bottom up, and she's gone through some trials and tribulations, if I'm gonna say it right in a way.
And people be trying to, sometimes people be hating on her or whatever. She got to, come in, but she will clap back. So don't. But you know what?
She be working.
Understanding that.
Whatever people have to say about her, she be putting in that work.
She do, and she got a full-time damn job. So yeah, she be putting in that work. Look, she got in my ass a couple of months ago and was like, "Listen, well, not just mine, but she was just like, y'all want to be vloggers and y'all want to do this content. You need to fucking post some shit. Do a video on your car. Do this, do that." And I'm like, you know what? She right. She come home from work and she posted little videos and stuff like that. And so I've been trying to work on that. I think I posted something every day on TikTok at least, so far or whatever. But I've been beefing it up on YouTube too or whatever. So, and you still have to do your tea time with TT.
I do. That's real. And I'll just say this, just about Kamisha. I think that we all have our journey and everything, but like she's so consistent and she's an inspiration. And I really appreciate just the work that she puts in, like regardless of whatever, like I just feel like she's I rock with her hard because she be working hard and I can tell.
Yeah, she do.
She be working hard. And I mean, shout out to other people.
Shout out to Kamisha and the Kamisha Reviews crew. Anyway,
for sure. I just want to highlight her because when I was thinking about the topic of like, what are you contributing and what's your legacy and all of that, it's like you cannot deny someone's hard work. Like when somebody works hard, you can tell, you can see it. And I just completely appreciate that. And shout out to some of the other people who be in here too. Oh my gosh, why am I flaking right now? It'd be a lot of people who be working hard. But Kamisha's just top of mind.
Yeah, and while you're on that road, yes, I want to piggyback on what you said. Shout out to Kamisha and the whole Kamisha Reviews crew, but shout out to On the Spot Live because she be working hard too. I mean, she be working hard too. Sometimes I can't even comment in her videos, but I always watch. And then I Am the Single One is her other channel, which is, if y'all have not checked out I Am the Single One, y'all have to check it out because it's just an interesting conversation. You know what I mean? And shout out to Mocha Mima because Mocha Mima be on it with the Summer House and other things.
Mocha, we've been watching the Summer House, and once we I haven't seen the reunion.
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet.
Once we both get caught up, we're gonna talk about it because there's a lot of stuff.
I think Mocha is a Muslim too. I saw her say something about I think the end of the Ramadan. But she don't know that we grew up Muslim.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Anyway, also, who else was in here? Shout out to Fourth Quarters.
Shout out to Ellen. I love
Shout out
you,
to Ellen B. Ellen be having all the tea. Okay, if y'all ever see Ellen in the chat, ask her what's going on. Ellen be having all the tea. Shout out to April Gaines. I love her too. Gwendolyn Beatty is like a day one also. Who else was in here? Tyron was in here. Shout out to Tyron.
Shout out to Tyron. Oh, shout out to the Plainest Jane.
And shout out to the
tonight, but she was here last week. And shout out to the Plainest Jane because she's another very hard person.
She
very
is
hard worker. Oh, shout out to J Dub, hard worker as well, for sure.
Yes, and he's been doing more lives now, which I like because he's letting his real it's a thing that people want to be perfect and stuff like that, but like the thing that really attracts people to your videos is when you be your authentic self. And you want to repel the people who don't like you because those aren't your people. You know what I'm saying? Right. The people that accept you for who you are and come and see you for your authenticity, mistakes and all, those are the people that you want to be, in your crowd or whatever. So we love y'all, and we are so glad that y'all are still rocking with us. We still, we still trying to work on I think we've been very consistent lately, but we're going to keep on being consistent. We're going to keep on, being our authentic selves. And I will say that if you like planners and you're into the planning community, and Andrins and lectern journals and Boujos, my sister is the girl for you to watch. Her channel is in the description below. And if you're a woman that needs motivation to create a healthy habit to work out, then I'm your girl, because I have another channel called By Demita Joe. It's only a few subscribers over there, but that doesn't mean I'm not still giving content. You feel me? Follow me on Instagram and follow me on that page as well. Because my sister's going to be my first client, and I'm going to help her start to get it together. And by next year, we're going to be, we're going to be looking good. Anyway, shout out to everybody. I love you guys. I don't know what to say. I'm just talking now.
I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful for everybody chiming in, and
shout out to people who don't comment in the chat. Sorry.
Yeah, shout out to everybody who don't comment in the chat, but special shout out to Ellen, because that's my chick right there. I love me some Ellen. I love everybody. I love Gwendolyn. I love Mocha Mima. Like, everybody's, cool or whatever. I really appreciate y'all's support. And we'll be back next week. We got some stuff to watch, y'all. I've been watching a little bit of everything, but I need to get caught up on the Real Housewives.
Me too.
And I need to get caught up. And you told me about the Detroit.
Love and Marriage Detroit started last Saturday. That comes on Saturdays. Also, there's a Black Bachelorette this season. And her name is Charity. I think she was on the season before. But that started on, I think, Friday or Saturday. But anyway, the first episode is out. I'm hoping she picks a brother. I don't know what's going to happen. But then also, what else? Ready to Love starts again on the 7th. So that's a Friday. Everybody get ready for that, because we will be talking.
Whatever happened to the Love and Marriage reunion from DC? We got to talk about it.
Never saw it. Did it post? Did they have it? But you know what? I saw a post from Ashley saying that she wanted to be in shape or something by the time the reunion happened. So I guess they're still planning it. I don't know.
It's over at this point. They have a whole new season.
Well, anyway. She said she posted something on Twitter. She said, I want to be something
Maybe
to the effect of, like, I want to be this
season.
size or whatever by the time the reunion comes. So I guess they're still planning it. I don't know. I thought I missed it.
We'll see.
Thank you. Yes, like I said, y'all need to go check her out. For if you're looking to buy a home, rent an apartment, whatever, she is your girl. And definitely check out I Am the Single One. It's just so interesting. But anyway, Love and Marriage DC went on a mid-season break. That's crazy, because weren't they at the end of the season?
I mean, we would have thought it would have been in the season.
I completely forgot about checking to see if it was a new episode, because I just felt like, they just
I felt like it was off. But anyway, we're gonna see, because I was enjoying it.
We still gonna watch it. You know what I'm saying? We still gonna watch it.
Anyway,
but shout out to Sherelle the trainer, who's also on that show, because she also is on her weight loss journey, and she is a fitness trainer as well. And she's been doing the damn thing. Okay, she's been uploading her walks and her exercises and stuff like that. So much positive vibes to her, because it's hard to lose weight. Okay, especially when you get older. But anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. If you got anything else to say, sis,
no, that's it. I just appreciate everybody, and check us out next week. We're gonna have more topics for you.
Yes, who knows what's gonna happen?
Who knows?
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Get in the comments below if you on the replay, #replay, and still give us your comments. Because we do read comments. So anyway, we're gonna see you guys next week. Thank you guys for riding with us. Peace, everybody. Peace.
Peace, everybody.